Hi, folks, this is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope everyone is doing well tonight, and I am once again simulcasting on Rumble and Utizzle. And I want to thank everybody who shows up tonight. I do appreciate it. What you see on the screen is Vladimir Zelensky went to a book signing or a book buying little trip, and this is the security he had around him. So, yeah, we're going to talk about what's going on with Vladimir Putin, what's going on with what Tom Homan said about we may be looking at a devastating attack if we don't watch what we're doing. What are these judges doing? Do they care about security? Anyway, a lot of different things to talk about. What Trump has put out in the forefront about the autopen and a great many other things. So meanwhile, I'll play some videos that I think are pertinent while we have people coming into the chats.
A legdurvább hatalmi harc zajlik. Nem ismernek se Istent, se ember. Le Pent bírósági ítélettel zárják ki az elnökségi versenyből. Salvinit bíróság elé rángatják. Az AfD nemzetbiztonsági eljárás alatt áll. A patrióták rendezvényeit erőszakkal akadályozzák. Kommunista, baloldali verőlegények támadnak a jobboldaliakra. J.D. Vance-nak igaza van. Ma Európában nem kívülről fenyegetik a szabadságot, hanem belülről akarják megdönteni. És mindenki látja, hogy baj van. Az egész kóceráj inog és roskadozik. Változtatni kell, ez így nem mehet tovább.
Walking over here to the Capitol and I give myself a pep talk. I talk to myself. I say, Kennedy, today you're going to follow Jesus. And by 10 o'clock, I still want to follow Jesus, but I also want to slap the hell out of somebody. On April 22nd, 2024, you said there are some members of the Supreme Court that are evil. Which justices were you talking about?
I'll take it your word, Senator. I don't recall using that word, but...
All right, here's what you said. You were talking about the majority opinion in Muldrow v. City of St. Louis. You said, quote, Justice Kagan, will she be able to control the opinion's future distortion by her evil colleagues? Probably not, end quote. Who were you talking about?
Sir, I'm very skeptical. If it's a transcription, it was probably a transcription error. I do not think I said...
No, you said it. Why don't you own up to it? Which you call some of the members of the Supreme Court evil. Now, which ones do you think are evil?
I would have to refresh my recollection. I've been very critical of some members of the Supreme Court.
You're embarrassed that you made that statement, aren't you?
I'm
you're an officer
Senator, it doesn't sound like something that I would say.
You know what I'm embarrassed at? That you're teaching our kids.
I don't refer to Supreme Court justices as evil in the classroom,
on
sir.
On your podcast, April 22nd, 2024.
Okay, well,
big as Dallas. And you're an officer of the court, and you're here advising us to be respectful to federal judges, and you say they're evil members of the United States Supreme Court? Gag me with a spoon.
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off. Payback time.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and HE in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. If the deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Thank you for joining me again, once again. Haha. There we got Mr. T on the screen. Thank you all for joining me. Let me see who we got here. Angel, nice to see you. Sherry, Debbie, Robin, Wayne's giving me thumbs up. Kathy's here. Rebecca, Benjamin, Common Sense, Tammy, Flannel Cheese, Ronald, Gary said, ha, Debbie. Yeah, there's a great Holly video also. Angela, nice to see you. Let's see, Sherry's here, Sissy, Gary, Sherry. All right, Angela, will you just relax and take care of that migraine? Hi, Marie, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Darla's here. Wow, my chat's jumping around on me. So, okay, yes, smash the like button. Araceli is here too. Tammy's here. Haha. All right. So, I hope everyone's doing well, and I hope everybody on Rumble's doing well. You get a chance to hit that follow button along with the thumbs up. But yeah, I mix the videos up once in a while when I can. Keep it a little interesting. That fit neatly in Viktor Orban describing the destruction of culture in Europe and how communists basically are taking over. And he said, this can't go on. And what you hear in this video I just played with Trump every night, this can't go on. I should have put on my thumbnail, put them all in jail where they belong. So, Mockingbird stutters. They don't know which way to go. Their Operation Mockingbird is, and I used to get taken down for saying that word. I used to have to break it up all the time. But you know what? I just got to test the water, see how far I can go, and talk normal as much as I can. Hi, William. How you doing? Debbie's here. Whiskey's here. So, this latest deal is this dopey judge, a new dopey judge. We're getting these dopey judges up out of the works here. I've got a notification. I don't want to go out and try to pull it up, but it's from Yahoo. Judge says migrants sent to El Salvador prison must have a chance to challenge. And another one from Vox says a federal court's novel proposal to rein in Trump's power grab. What power grab? He's got a sworn duty to protect American citizens and our way of life. The world's problems are not our problems. But as I've said before, one of the big differences between this administration and the first one is that Trump is not the only one taking things head on. It's being diffused among capable people that have been selected and vet it. You've got Hegseth, you've got Kash Patel, you've got Pam Bondi, you've got Tulsi Gabbard, you've got Kristi Noem. But they take steps to do something, and the press is starting to get their Mockingbird voice back, and they say, Trump is doing this, Trump is doing that. But the real action's being taken by appointees, like this big controversy supposed to be. U.S. Navy plans to rename United States Navy ship Harvey Milk. Going to rename it from Harvey Milk because the question is, who the hell wants to go into battle with a ship named after a gay socialist activist, Marxist? And people dig into his past. Oh, what did he do? He rebuked a father who was trying to get his 6-year-old child out of Jim Jones's cult, and that child ended up losing their life. He was having relationships with 16-year-old boys. So this stuff comes out after the Mockingbird media tries to jump in. Trump administration attacking poor Harvey Milk. No, that's not a name that is suitable for a vessel like that or any other damn vessel, unless they're with the Rainbow Coalition and they want to, do what you want to do. But my personal opinion of him, he's a deviant. He was a deviant and a criminal, especially with the 16-year-old boy situation. Where is that? I'm looking for the Babylon Bee put something out about that. I'll pop it up in a little bit. But anyway, yeah. So the jumping up and down, crying about Harvey Milk is going away. They can't keep up. The Mockingbird media can't keep up. White House put this out. Presidential portraits. Donald Trump's tweet or truth. With the exception of the rigged presidential election. I didn't used to be able to say that. But if they stop me from reading publicly a post put up by the President of the United States, they're not censoring me. They're censoring the President of the United States. And that is not going to be tolerated this time around. Right? Aside from that rigged election, the autopen is the biggest political scandal in American history, highlighted. And there you see on the bottom, the White House. So earlier today, I was getting a little grumpy, listening to all this babble and nonsense and crap from the press, but that's when I said to myself, this can't go on. This can't go on. And with a sense of anger is what I said that to myself. But then as I thought about it, it's laughable. It can't go on because of its ridiculousness. They will collapse under the weight of their own illegality. Karine Jean-Pierre, she's leaving the Democrat Party. The rats leaving the sinking ship. You notice I have Donald Trump's screenshot on his phone in the corner there, okay? Just a subtle reminder. But anyway, she got a new book, Independent, a look inside a broken White House, outside of the party, whatever. I don't even remember what this particular video was. I got a couple of videos about Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary. We've already seen Chuck Todd. We've already seen Jack Tapper. We've already seen how many goons pointing fingers and running away. Because whoever was in charge of that autopen, whoever knowingly defrauded the people, the American people, out of control of their own government, is a criminal.
It would be wrong to think that the border is open. It is not open.
We're been down to the border. The possible next speaker says that he wants him to go with him. So is he going to?
So look, he's been there. He's been to the border. And since he took office.
When did he go to the border?
But that's not how it works. Like we actually, no.
I know that that's not what you guys want to happen, but that is what has happened.
But that's not, it's not like somebody walks over and that's not how.
Exactly what's happening. Thousands of people are walking in a day. Some of them turn themselves over. Some of them are caught. Tens of thousands a week are not. That is what is happening.
It is not that simple. It's not just that people are walking across the border. They want to secure the border. We've been doing that work on our own. The president has done the work to deal with what we're seeing at the border since day one. Because when you look at inflation, when we look at where we are economically, and we are stronger economically than we have been in history. What we saw on January 6th was the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
There you go, Corinne Jean-Pierre. Well, don't take it so lightly, folks, that she is. It's what they used to say every time they talked about Trump's people. Is it going to flip on Trump? Is it going to flip? Even though they don't have anything to flip about. Well, guess what? She just flipped. And nobody's going to listen on the left to the regular people. I think she's being put out there because she'll get the ear of some liberals that are still salvageable. Whoa, wait a second. I didn't mean to put that up. Whatever liberals there are left salvageable. Oh my goodness. Here, I'll put this up. I don't like having a blank screen. But I tell you what, I'm not picking on anybody. But I don't want to start this broadcast up. Anybody thinks that it's all been just talk to this point? Oh, they're nothing but talk. Nobody's been arrested yet. 7 years ago, the 17th letter said people that are demanding arrests right now have no place in this conversation. Donald Trump almost lost his life twice that the public knows of. People's lives have been destroyed through lawfare. And people have been getting up every day, every morning, fighting the good fight, taking the slings and arrows, and getting to this point of victory that we're at through blood, sweat, and tears. So I don't want to hear that stuff about, oh, it's all just talk from somebody sitting on their rear end. I got upset the other night and late in the broadcast. Now I'm getting upset early. Look past your nose. Jean-Pierre changing her tune and going to write a tell-all book that liberals will pay attention to is a big deal. And yeah, people like me, Scott Jennings, are going to call her an idiot, call her a fool, put up videos that show how foolish she is, and she's going to have to take a bath in her own stupidity. Either that, or she's got to admit that she was part of it. She's going to have to say, they tricked me too. But it really gets my goat. Like General Flynn losing his home. On the outside looking in. They almost put him in jail, almost put his son in jail. Well, that knocked me off my stride. I tell you, we're looking at heroes that are going to be talked about for 100, 200 years when this is over with. Just because my buttons aren't being pushed to my satisfaction as to who would get arrested. I played the videos that I played at the intro to show you that this is worldwide. It's starting to be apparent to the senators like Kennedy, who's putting the word out, that the system is colluding against the people. From Viktor Orban right down to Senator Kennedy. And it can't go on. Let's see, where was I at? People got to look at things with a tough eyeball. A tough eyeball. This is the White House put out something else about this character. His family's supposed to be getting deported. Good. Oh, wait a minute. A judge steps in and says you can't deport them. Really? Now, why is my screen not working? I'm trying to put up a video of Scott Jennings. I've been trying to. Here, Scott Jennings is telling the world what he thinks of Jean Pierre. And she's got it. She's putting a book out. She's going to have to do interviews. She's going to have to talk to people. And guess what? Liberals will tune into her and listen to her. They won't listen to Scott Jennings. They won't listen to me. They won't listen to you. Has she been activated? Has she got to eat crow? Yes. Is that a good thing? Yes.
I have a different view. I'd like to congratulate Democrats for ridding yourselves of this untalented mediocrity. I mean, this is the most self-aggrandizing liar that has ever held this job. The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she stood up there for years and lied through her teeth to the American people.
My friend,
and
she's not the first.
She is the literal worst White House press secretary in my lifetime. And what she did in the last year and a half of the Biden administration, cheap fakes, the entire cover-up around the president's mental faculties, she was in the center of it.
So you think she's doing this to launder herself?
So congratulations for getting rid of this, but Democrats deserve everything they're getting here for putting her in that job in the first place.
Well, that's a good question, Pappy Two Bears. How many of those judges are deportable? How many of those judges are deportable? Like I said, there's a 10-year period where you can be reviewed and you can have your citizenship stripped from you if you engage in activity that's harmful to this country. And I played that video of the guy in Canada who said, I didn't take my oath. Nobody was watching me. I don't have a duty to. Canada should find that man and deport him immediately. The one who's saying, I will put Sharia law in your face. Here, Bill Melugin, breaking Colorado federal judge Gordon Gallagher, a Biden appointee. Oh, really? Or was he an autopen appointee? Has issued an order blocking the Trump administration from deporting the wife and 5 children of Boulder terror suspect Mohammed Soleiman. Okay, according to this judge, we got to take care of them. He belongs on death row. He's the one Trump was talking about needs a quick trial. Send him back to Egypt? Oh, that's too good for him. So we got to take care of his brood. Since when is the world's problems our problem? Somebody wrote a comment very similar to that. If I can find it, I'll put it up. Since when do we make the world's problems our problems? Well, according to these judges, never mind our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. We've got to subjugate ourselves to people that will tax our eyeballs out of our head, the silent thieves, so we can make the world a better place for people who want to burn us alive. Here he is. He's speaking in his native tongue, and there's captions so you can see what he's saying. This is hours before he did what he did. The end part of the video, the volume goes down, but it doesn't matter because he's speaking Farsi or whatever. But do you think the last administration would let this video get out? I don't think so.
الله أكبر من كل شيء، الله أكبر من الصهاينة، الله أكبر من أمريكا وأسلحتها، الله أكبر من طائرات الF-35، الله أكبر مما هو دونه. فلما نخشى ما دونه ولا نخشى الله. لو قلت لمراتي ولا ابني كل يوم نفس الحاجة يعملها وما عملهاش، أنا هتضايق، هزعل، يمكن أطلقها، يمكن أطلب ابني من البيت. فما بالنا الله يقول لنا كل يوم عشرات المرات الله أكبر، لا تنسوا، الله أكبر، لا تنسوا، الله أكبر من كل شيء. لا صهاينة ولا أمريكا ولا بريطانيا وفرنسا وألمانيا، الله أحق أن نخشاه، الله أحق أن نخشاه. أمي، زوجتي، أولادي، أخوتي،
There's a disclaimer about the people that posted that. How did they get it? I'm glad they got it. I believe it was let out by the State Department. Things you would never had seen under the other administration. It had been along the lines of these judges who are purposefully standing in the way of law and order in this country and preventing our country from being given away to radicals. Hi, Miss Mindersue. Yes, quick trial. Greg, how you doing? That's right. What more laws do we need? You can gauge the corruption. Hi, Wanda. You can gauge the corruption of the society by the redundancy of its laws. A Google account. How are you doing? Yeah, they're stepping in the trap. I believe these judges are stepping in the trap. And I would much rather have Jean-Pierre making news, admitting to the world that the Biden administration was, in her words, broken. Broken. What does that mean? It means they lied to all of us. I'm going to get that picture of that freak off the screen. It's behind that judge's ruling. I don't want to put it back up again. So let's see. We've got, what are they doing? I believe this is the video where they're talking about how before this judge put out his ruling, supposed ruling, they're making excuses for the daughter and the other kids that Trump is being mean, going after them?
Making an example is understating it, Willie. You know, White House almost gloating, a victory lap. A number of tweets last night about about this suspect's family, rushing them out. And I was told by a White House advisor late yesterday that this is sort of the plan here. Is that we know from covering Donald Trump for a long time, his reflex is always to come back to immigration. He believes that's a signature issue. He believes that's what got him elected, and that Americans want to see things like this. Now, in this case, obviously, we don't know the family's involvement. The suspect is accused of a heinous crime. There are certainly plenty of Americans who would be glad to see him go, but might have questions about the family. But they're leaning into this sort of in-your-face imagery that didn't necessarily work per polling earlier this term with the deportations to the El Salvador prison and the like. But they're doubling down on that sort of public image now.
Yeah. Talking about polling. What do we care about polling? Well, I tell you, it's a loser for you all. And why should we take care of that whole brood or tribe or whatever you want to call it that are here illegally anyway? I believe the daughter went to Colombia, and he said that he was going to wait for his daughter to graduate. He planned this for a year, but he wanted his daughter to graduate. Did the college knowingly accept her as an illegal alien and use federal funds to keep her in school and keep this murderer in wait? Help keep him here? I say the answer is yes. Yes, Miss Mindersue. I did get your dono. I appreciate it. Miss Mindersue stopped by. Much appreciated. My link in Buy Me the Coffee. Gary stopped by this week also. I thank you, Gary. I got several videos on this thing. Several about this dopey situation with this migrant that we're all supposed to do backflips and jumping jacks for. Tom Homan, where are you? How many times has Tom Homan rung the bell over what's going on in this country? That's why I have that picture of Trump with the 911 on his phone. Do you think that's the only thing 2 million radicals are going to come up with is a pump sprayer and some gasoline? I don't think so.
Andrew McCabe is an embarrassment to the FBI. He's an embarrassment to the badge he carried. Bottom line is, did he take an oath to enforce laws? Because so didn't ICE. ICE, as you said earlier, Laura, ICE is enforcing the laws enacted by Congress. Laws that they get obligated and funded to enforce. ICE isn't making this stuff up. They're enforcing the laws or holding their oath. This is what they're supposed to do. If you're in the country illegally, you got a problem, and we're looking for you. We're going to prioritize a bad guy before we go to the other guy, but doesn't mean the other guy is off the table. We're enforcing immigration laws. That's what the American people voted for. That's why President Trump is in the White House, because that's what the American people wanted, and we're going to keep President Trump's promise to the American people. You can hate or like Trump all you want, but here's the fact. His success on the border, his success in immigration enforcement, his success on national security is unprecedented. I worked for 6 presidents. No one even comes close to the success of President Trump. I'm proud every day to wake up and work for this man because we're making a difference. We're making this country safe again, one illegal alien at a time. And you can hate it all you want. We're going to do it. We're not going to stop us. We're going to continue doing exactly what we're doing. Take all the pictures you want. Scream all you want. It doesn't matter. We're going to do the job.
Yeah, well, they lionize the illegals and they villainize ICE. That's all you.
Exactly right. Here's Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley at a so-called protest. Okay. Now, I could see plain as day on this video one person who could get arrested for shoving an ICE agent. At least one where it's just no doubt that they got violent with a federal agent. But anyway, here they are in all their holier-than-thou glory. Better than you and me because they want to help people.
A group right here trying to block the police from leaving once again. They threw out a bunch of garbages. Now people are trying to create a line out here to stop ICE and FBI.
That's your city.
So get the fuck out! Fuck you! No, fuck you! Fuck you!
Move on, right now! Hey, back up! Back up, right now!
So these people are putting up a pretty strong wall here. They're not letting people. The police are obviously retaliating. People are pushing back at the police, showing no respect towards the police. People are upset because the ICE did come through here, and they did take some illegal immigrants out of here, of the city.
This is how the sheriff works.
Push it through. Push it through.
Go back to Oak River, you pieces of shit. Back, bye, Mike. Slide back.
Look, you had this guy taunting and messing with the police. He's gotten thrown a few times by the police, and he's keeping on going back to him too. This guy right here just got pushed by the police after he's pushing at them. Police threw him down, and he keeps going after them.
They're keeping the way open. Look at that little nerd just pulled his hood up. See him fall on his rear end where he belongs? So how's the media going to keep justifying this? How are they going to handle? Are they even going to interview KJP or whatever her name is? Maybe she'll be going on other stations like FOX, right? This isn't going to stop till people start getting arrested. So people start sitting in a jail cell. Ha, that's right, Ice Ice Baby. Boom, 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 boom. Let me see what's going on. That's right, we're going to keep the channel rocking. Big or small, deport them all, Bush says. That's right. Big or small. Now, the next thing they're trying to do is unmask these border agents or ICE agents. Here's Hakeem. You think he's knowingly trying to put federal agents and their families in danger? I mean, he is saying it just as plain as day that he's going to expose these people because he knows there's operatives out there, there are crazies out there that will hurt them and their family.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. That in fact is the law. And we're going to make sure that the American people have the transparency necessary to hold people accountable when they're folks who cross the line here in America. That's what's going to happen. And as I mentioned earlier, and I spoke to Congressman Nadler about this, our first priorities are always going to be making sure the person who was on the front line is in the best possible place to move forward. That's the case with LaMonica MacGyver, and it is also the case with Congressman Nadler's brave, young, patriotic staffer. And we've got to address those issues first. That's the human thing to do, while simultaneously, of course, preparing to deal with the broader policy implications, which, as I mentioned, are underway.
Yeah. You want to put people in danger is what you want to do. You can't say it any clearer. And you know, I want to welcome my new subscribers. I had about a dozen or a dozen and a half pop up the other day for some reason. I don't normally lose my cool with I want to see arrests too. I've been wanted just like everybody else for years. I have been sitting on the edge of my chair thinking, this is the day, this is the day. Who knows? It's going to come. But look how far we've come. And imagine what we would have if Trump had not won. This is Pride Week, right? Here was the White House last year. We have these judges, even with that Maryland ruling, wanting to take away our weapons. They're trying to push another COVID-19 variant. All that stuff would be full steam ahead if it wasn't for Trump. But here's the difference an election makes. Blood, sweat, and tears have got us through this election. Now let's see if I get a copyright for that little bit of music. I don't know. I might. We're turning that ship around. It's hard. A ship this big. Here is another idiot talking about masks. I showed you where the presser, I could pull it up if I went out of the studio. In the presser, at the end of the presser, the member of the State Department just stormed away from the podium because they were saying, well, they have to identify themselves. And he just finished explaining the dangers. Now you got this nitwit talking about demasking federal agents.
And I asked them, I said to them, what is the point here? Are you just trying to tally more arrests? I didn't get any real response. And then I said to them, why are you wearing masks? I was a federal prosecutor for 10 years. I worked with ICE agents. I worked with law enforcement agents. I never saw any of them wear masks. This is brand new. And the question is, if everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks to hide your face?
Yeah, I saw them wearing masks when Tim Walsh sent them to shoot paintballs and pepper balls and crap on people who were trying to sit on their porch because they were pushing lockdowns. Remember that? They were wearing masks then. Nobody said a damn thing. Nobody said a damn thing when they were all wearing masks, tearing up cities, burning cities to the ground. And here you have people putting their lives in danger to help get this country stabilized. I couldn't even play this video. I'm glad she did it. But it's not something I can play on this platform, or I want to play on this platform. This lady right here, in her state house, Connecticut State Representative Ann Dubé, Dauphiness, makes Democrats listen to their own degeneracy. And she reads a paragraph from a book that is so filthy I won't play it. And they told her, well, you need to substitute your words and you're offending people, blah, blah. And she said, you're telling me that this language is inappropriate in this chamber. This is an elementary school book. It was discussions of disgusting behavior. But Harvey Milk probably wouldn't have a problem with it. Here, Mockingbird, what they do is they change the way the culture thinks. Is that Bill Clinton in the overcoat? I couldn't tell. They change things from being a to pride and free expression. We're going to tear down that foolishness. And these people are going to go to jail where they belong. And if that is Bill Clinton, that is an example. He's an example. When Operation Mockingbird was going into full steam, where they took his criminal behavior, where he exposed himself to a state worker, tried to coerce, induce somebody into doing something criminal. He should be on a registry. And they changed that to, oh, he just fooled around with a intern in his office. The majority of Americans believe that. They don't even know the basics of the case. Just like they did with Nixon. Nixon didn't break into any damn building. That's why we call it the silent coup. They made the public think he did. This narrative fell apart. What's her name? Kristen Welker? Is that her name on CNN? She finally got into the Oval Office. And there's all this stuff going on with tariffs with China, with the conflict in Ukraine, these mass deportations going on, all kinds of things. She hadn't been in the Oval Office in a week. She gets a chance to ask a question. What does she do? Oh, an illegal immigrant. No, she doesn't use that term. Someone got blamed for sending threatening letters, and it was a setup by another inmate. Are you all still going to deport that poor man? Or whatever her stupid-ass question was. Excuse me for cursing. But now we see on Forbes, he admits to sending the letters. You think the FBI is going to check that out? And who cares if one illegal immigrant tries to set up another illegal immigrant? Who cares about keeping one in the country and or whatever their warped brains want? Whoever wrote the letters, they're both illegal immigrants. They both got to go. You can hash out the who did what to who later. But it's a narrative that turned out to fall flat on his face. And she hadn't been seen for a week, and that's how she PP'd away her chance to ask a question of the President of the United States. Here's an example. Carolyn Leavitt. We're going to call you out, is what she said the other day. Things like the Washington Post headline that they mentioned the day after I broadcast it and showed the headline, unexplained drop in fentanyl coming across the border. It's a mystery. No damn mystery. It's a mystery because we secured our border. But here she's showing how the press is constantly screwing up, constantly making, air quotes, mistakes.
Some in the media we don't take the word of Hamas with total truth. We like to look into it when they speak, unlike the BBC, who had multiple headlines. They wrote, Israeli tank kills 26, Israeli tank kills 21, Israeli gunfire kills 31, Red Cross says 21 people were killed in an aid incident, and then, oh wait, they had to correct and take down their entire story, saying we reviewed the footage and couldn't find any evidence of anything. Oh, okay, so we're going to look into reports before we confirm them from this podium or before we take action, and I suggest that journalists who actually care about truth do the same.
Yeah. Oh, they had to make a mistake. Isn't that something? I mean, they had to correct their mistake. Nobody pays attention to the corrections. They know that. By the way, Wayne's in the house, too. I want to thank Wayne for going by Buy Me a Coffee, starting off the week good. And I believe Patty is on Rumble. I want to thank you, too, Patty, for going by Buy Me a Coffee and helping the channel out. I don't want to leave people out. So it's Miss Mindersue, Wayne, Patty, and Gary. So to my new subscribers, I just want to let you know I don't typically get that aggravated, but I did the last couple of videos because we've come so far, folks. And we got to cherish that and appreciate it and keep track of who is doing what. You know, I got the picture of Trump with the phone 9/11. TMZ. I could have copied the video, but TMZ is hard on people for copyright, you know. But they put a video out. TMZ claims existence of a fifth airliner on 9/11. Have you all heard that? Now, we've had all these theories bopping around, you know, that they superimposed the planes with CGI and there weren't really planes and all these different things. I think it's a combination. And of explosives that have been planted for insurance purposes and for being thieves, to steal gold and to wipe out records. But it's interesting. I wouldn't say no airlines were used. I wouldn't say none. They blend things. Remember, the greatest lies are half-truths. Donald Trump put this up. I'm very pleased to announce that after all these years, I agree with Senator Elizabeth Warren on something. He didn't call her Pocahontas. The debt limit should be entirely scrapped to prevent an economic catastrophe. It's too devastating to be put in the hands of political people that may want to use it, despite the horrendous effect it could have on our country and, indirectly, even the world. As to Senator Warren's second statement on the $4 trillion, I like that also. But it would have to be done over a period of time, as short as possible. Let's get together, Republican and Democrat, and do this. This is a perfect example of what I wanted to talk about the other night. Look how many people are involved helping Trump that used to be at his throat. Remember all the nasty things Marco Rubio tried during the first election. Any number of different people that you could talk about. Bobby Kennedy couldn't stand Trump. And on it goes. So when are people going to come to the side of Trump to help. Now, in Elizabeth Warren's case, it may not be because she wants to help. But remember what I talked about in the past. When people get in trouble, people may be looking at charges. No, there's not going to be any deals. No deals. But material assistance has always played a role in sentencing somebody, or even a degree of their charges. If people show remorse, if people give material assistance in helping solve something or prosecute somebody, if people allocute and confess, take responsibility, all those things lead to a difference in sentencing, and that is not a deal. That's part of life. So here's Liz Warren's tweet she put out. Dear Donald Trump, and I agree, the debt limit should be scrapped to prevent an economic collapse. Let's pass a bipartisan bill and get rid of it forever. But jacking up the debt limit by $4 trillion to fund more tax breaks for billionaires is an outrage. Now she knows that comment is idiotic. But she's got to look tough for her constituents. Tough guys. The court must let me do the job. And this is a list of people in the country that have committed, I know Prince real small, but most of you know anything from, and I'm going to say the word murder, okay? And SA, or multiple violent cases. Trump is beating the drum on that. What's this one? I saw Now This Impactor, one of them, put up Elon Musk just condemned the Republican Congress, and the bill is going to destroy our country, and all they care about is the autopen. Well, we'll get to the autopen here in a bit. But Elon Musk, you know, I tell you, I think it's a multi-level psyop. For him to go against Trump, I think it's optics. I think it's to get the heat off of Trump, Elon Musk, where they won't focus on tearing up his businesses and his customers' vehicles. But it's also to get people to listen, to find consensus. If somebody is against Trump, there's a certain faction that is shrinking and shrinking. They'll listen to the person who is against Trump. That's how Bill Barr got on TV with MSNBC, CNN, and said, if you want scalps, that's going to take time. Stuff like that. So Trump put out this, reposted this from Elon Musk when people were talking about the rift between them. As my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank President Donald Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The DOGE mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government. Well, you know, I don't know. I can't get through. psyops, psychological manipulation is what they've been doing to the American people for decades. Now we are doing it to get a message out. A distraction from what, Tammy? A total distraction from what? It's everything. The budget, the big, beautiful bill. What did Steve Miller say? It's going to change our civilization. Where is that quote? From Steve Miller. I don't know. It's so much stuff in here, but here it is. He's not just talking out of his cheeks. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller made the case for President Donald Trump's big, beautiful budget reconciliation bill in a series of posts on social media this week. One Big Beautiful Bill Act is the most essential piece of legislation currently under consideration in the entire Western world. It's going to change how the government operates. It's not just a spending bill. It's going to change how the government operates. That's why you have people like Chuck Schumer saying it's the we're all going to die bill. We're all going to die. Well, we're all going to die act. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer took aim at the Republicans' spending bill, calling it the, well, we're all going to die act. Is that the best you got, Chuck Schumer? How is the Mockingbird media going to put that out? He spoke in front of posters calling the bill, well, we're going to die act. I should have got that video. I might put it up tomorrow if I find it. Where they're all saying, we're going to die. We're all going to die. We're going to die. We're going to die. It's going to solidify, verify, codify the president's powers. Yeah, it's true, Miss Mindersu. It's a sickening psyops, but psyops are a part of life. What was the philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre? He said, we all put on our faces to go out and meet the many faces. It's like I was going to do a video. I met a 100-year-old woman, and I did. I met a couple of them. But she told me you never really know somebody. In our own little way, from the beginning of time, from Genesis, we've played mind games and play with ourselves. That's why to thine own self be true is so important. I've got one stuck here. Wait a minute. There we go. Oh, this little studio gets sticky sometimes. And you got to bust through the psyops. Here's Babylon B. Humor is the best way to just get right down to frank talk. U.S. Harvey Milk to be renamed USS No Homo. So, yeah, we got to, it's good cop, bad cop with Elon and Trump right now. That's an old strategy. We all heard about it. And the left is going to be torn between hating Trump. No, I hate Elon. No, wait a minute. I like Elon because he hates Trump too. And back and forth. At some point, their brains have to settle down onto a reality. They have to see reality for what it is. And like this stupid meme about, they're still pushing it, tacos. And the left can't meme, but they're using AI, and they're spending $20 million just on one operation, how to talk to young men. But also they're blowing it on this taco thing. Trump always chickens out. And this meme they put up, I put in the comments, it looks like lunchtime at Gitmo or CCOT. That's where they belong. So it's not funny. Nobody cares. And they look stupid. So keep it up. Because you all talking about that stuff. And these people you want to keep in the country, they don't want bacon around. They don't even want it being available. British Insight. Breaking. Muslims are hitting up social media to call for a bacon ban in the UK. They argue that bacon is unclean and that the country should show more respect for Muslim beliefs. What's your message to the bacon haters? We all know that if they don't get their country back, they're going to be in big trouble. They already are in big trouble. We're in big trouble. But now, like with the Harvey Milk thing, they go Trump administration, instead of saying Pete Hegseth. Or somebody's getting deported, and instead of saying Tulsi Gabbard, they go Trump administration. But here, where Trump mentioned this case to show our nation has a big heart. 4-year-old from Mexico receiving life-saving medical treatment can remain in the U.S., lawyer says. No, wait a minute. The Trump administration says it. But no, they say a lawyer says it. Donald Trump himself said it. A 4-year-old receiving life-saving medical treatment in the U.S. was granted humanitarian parole for 1 year, allowing her and her mother to remain in the country. The child's attorneys announced. Trump already announced that. You guys saw it. You guys heard Trump say she was very, very sick, and we allowed her to come in. Do they give Trump a penny's worth of credit? Hell no. What's this one? I was watching Rudy Giuliani when I took this picture. Chinese couple. Okay. Don't worry about the border. Chinese couple charged with smuggling a biological pathogen into the U.S. You all heard about that? What's that? Yungying Jian, a researcher at the University of Michigan, and her boyfriend, Zunyong Lui, studied the pathogen as university students in China. Well, what the hell are they doing smuggling it in here? They said it turns into like a mold that destroys crops, and it can give chest infections to human beings and animals alike. I'm not going to read all this. Which news company is this? NBC? No, I'm not going to read it because I heard everything I needed to know. Get them the hell out. Don't even let them in. How about that? What is this? Oh, Donald Trump has confirmed that the President, Donald Trump, has no plans to officially recognize June as Pride Month. Here's the photo they had up with that. Looks like an insurrection to me. Trump has no plans to recognize it. Whatever. Of course not. At a briefing, Leavitt stated that while Trump is the president for all Americans, there will be no proclamation for Pride or any other special designation this June. Why do we want to celebrate hedonism? Although Trump did acknowledge Pride Month in a 2019 social media post promoting his administration's global campaign to decriminalize homosexuality, that's different. That's different than the alphabet gang and a transgender gang, okay? A big difference. He never issued a formal proclamation unlike past presidents. Oh, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, not even George Bush did it. One or two. And neither did Reagan or any other president before. Just the two Marxist operatives, the Manchurian candidates. The announcement comes amid intensified criticism of Pride celebrations. Mary Miller introduced a resolution to declare June Family Month, arguing it would reject the lie of Pride and defend traditional values. PBS and Sesame Street were also attacked. Don't use the word criticized. Use the word attacked. No, they were criticized by some Republicans for promoting inclusivity. No, they're promoting cultivating young people into their hedonistic way of life. So yeah, we're going to criticize them. A criticism is not an attack. Get your head on right. Here's Sesame Street. Put this garbage out. On our street, everyone is welcome. Together, let's build a world where every person and every family feels loved and respected for who they are. Don't let your kids watch that crap. Here's the difference in 1 year. Apple, IBM, Hewlett-Packard, whoever that is, was that United Airlines? I don't know. Paramount. Paramount owes Trump big money. They better cough it up too. Vogue magazine. They've all changed their tune. Wait a minute. I got some more on that. Where? Not that, you know. I'd say let it die on the vine. Here's Jack Posobiec. Well, see, U.S. Army reaches 2025 recruiting goal 4 months early. This achievement represents a significant turning point for the Army and indicates a renewed sense of patriotism and purpose among America's youth. Do you think that getting rid of this... Oh, that's another thing. A judge ordered that more transgender surgeries must be performed for prisoners. And I imagine he tried to do it with the military too, if he could get away with it. They're rebelling against lawful executive orders of the president and trying to make us pay for that crap. And it's got to stop. There has to be some kind of, instead of these nitpicky here, there orders, there needs to be a blanket definition of what they can and cannot interfere with. Remember that guy that was the voice actor on King of the Hill I talked about the other night? King of the Hill and Parks and Rec actor S-H-O-T, okay? Remember that guy? Well, here's a little more on his story. U.S. actor Jonathan Ross has been dead in what his husband says was a homophobic hate crime, although the police have said they found no evidence of that. Why am I bringing it up? Well, because I didn't know. Now I know. But the thing is, when you wear that on your sleeve and try to force it in schools and family entertainment, and who knows what the hell was going on with the neighbor, people are going to bristle. Oh boy. Citizen Free Press put this up about an hour before I went live. Breaking, Donald Trump has banned all foreign national Harvard students and researchers from entering the U.S. on student or foreign exchange visas. Shifts legal fight from one over state and Department of Homeland Security powers to presidential powers. He just did that. And I say, hooray. They stopped a flight. Where is it? Here it is. Mid-flight. Here's some agents on a plane. Federal ICE agents. Like the media's trying to devalue them, calling them gravy seals and things like that. Well, they're federal agents, and you better stay out of their way. Lauren Witzke said a Southwest flight headed to Dallas was reportedly rerouted mid-flight to Nashville for an ICE raid. Such diversions for raids are extremely rare. What was going on that plane? Kudos to these ICE officers for going above and beyond to ensure that invader never reached their destination. But we're very vulnerable. We've got millions of people we have no flipping idea who they are. Dan Squino put this interesting post up. And if you think about it, what does it mean to you? Dan Squino, I'm young enough to remember when subpoenas came flying my way left and right just months after leaving Trump 1.0. You name it. Process servers, U.S. Marshals, and the FBI. Knock, knock, knock. Over 4 years. Compliments of the lawfare waged by the Biden administration. Just saying. What do you all get out of that post? Let me know in the chats what you think this post is saying. I'll let you all cogitate on that. I'll tell you what I think it's saying. What was this? What was this post? Oh, okay, I can get rid of that one. I'm just looking to see what I can get rid of. What does that post mean to you guys? Hi, Kim. He knows they're all lying. That's right, Miss Sue. But I'll tell you what it means. I want to see what you all think. While you're cogitating on that, let's take a minute to reflect on this hero, unknown hero, who probably lost his life on this day. The anniversary of one of the greatest heroes in my lifetime, Tank Man. Remember, they tried to wipe him off the internet about 2 years ago. The same way they wiped out the word kofefe. Kofefe. An Arabic term that means I will stand. I will prevail or stand. They wiped it out of Google to try to make Trump look incompetent. They tried to wipe out Tank Man. In 1989, a pro-democracy protester in China's Tiananmen Square faced a bloody military crackdown that would mark a turning point for Chinese communist control of the country's political reforms. It was a mass, occur. Yeah, Greg, I think you got it right. That is Scavino's way of telling them, you're going to get what I got. On this day in 1989, a largely student-led pro-democracy protest in China's Tiananmen Square faced a bloody military crackdown, marking a turning point for Chinese communist control of the country's political reforms. The following day, the famous images of Tank Man, a Beijing protester who stopped a column of tanks advancing on the square, became symbolic of the infamous event. He disappeared and was never seen again. Thousands died, were ran over by those very same tanks. But yes, Dan Scavino is saying, remember what they did to me? 4 years of this hell, process servers, U.S. Marshals, and the FBI? And he didn't do nothing wrong. What if you did something wrong? Well, you're going to get knocks on your door. Don't act like it's a special thing. Here's something the mainstream media doesn't show. Gazans receiving aid.
I love you, Trump. Good luck. مية مية فل عم الناس. I love you, Trump. Good luck. مية مية فل عم الناس.
What do you think they'd do to him if they caught him? The Hamas gang, huh? Well, before Trump posted what he did, which I'll show you, I think I got it in my studio, he mentioned more about the autopen. As a matter of fact, I think he's doing an official investigation, an official order by the president to investigate this matter. And here's, is it Peter Ducey or Steve Ducey? Peter Ducey, showing some of the pardons that were signed.
January 6th committee.
That's right.
Most of the big ones have the same very neat signature. We would expect that probably to be the autopen. There is one that looks different. It looks authentic. In fact, if you look at the last name, it almost looks like the president was having a hard time spelling his last name there. Is this White House of the opinion that the only pardon that would count is one that the president signed himself?
It's very interesting. Very interesting props. If you want to bring them to my office later so I can take a closer look, I would like to do that. The president is making a good point when he discusses the usage of the autopen. Who was running the country for the past 4 years? Perhaps those documents were signed with the autopen, something that this, I believe the Department of Justice is looking into. As you saw, Ed Martin made an announcement at the Department of Justice this morning to launch an investigation because the American people deserve answers.
Is there any concern that this president, who won the election on a promise to fix the economy and close the border, that focusing and scrutinizing these Biden pardons is looking into the past instead of looking forward?
I think in comparison to the amount of time this president has spent on securing the border, on fixing our economy, I just read out for you an entire list of economic accomplishments. Look at the border numbers. Look at the time and effort he's divulged into solving the global conflicts abroad. It pales in comparison, but it still, nevertheless, is a very important issue. And it was a huge issue that sent the president back to this White House. The Americans saw with their own eyes a mentally incompetent president, and they want answers for that, and the president believes they should have
And
them.
something that just crossed, Caroline, how mad do you think President Trump is going to be when he finds out that Elon Musk said, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it."
Look, the president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it.
I tell you, folks, it's an exercise in getting people to pay attention. They're not going to sweep the autopen under the rug. The big, beautiful bill is paramount to get passed. Steve Miller couldn't have said it any better. One of the biggest bills in Western civilization. You know, I played that clip of Kennedy at the beginning. I got a couple of more of him I want to play. He's getting down to brass tacks. This is a quick clip about what they're talking about. Jake Tapper's trying to push this narrative that millions of people are going to be without Medicare and Medicaid. But anyway, here's Kennedy, how he handles Jake Crapper.
You know, look, if you really need Medicaid, I want you to get it. But there are people on Medicaid who could work, but they choose not to work. And sometimes the best way to get back on your feet is to get up off your ass.
Medicaid undocumented immigrants are not supposed to get Medicaid. I understand that there have been examples.
But they do. Yeah. All you got to do is step a toe in California, and you'll get everything.
Right. I just wanted to make sure that's clear that legally they're not eligible. Some people who already work or qualify for an exemption.
Yeah, and we reimburse California. That's not a burden to the state. In the end, it's a universal burden for all Americans. But yeah, the best way to get up on your feet is to get off your ASS. Speaking of which, this person here a congresswoman, her name escapes me, but listen to this rationale. And it's vulgar, but they're vulgar, okay? And they need to be exposed. They think people aren't watching them, and they give a slip of the tongue. This is what they really think about immigrants. They're not these great white saviors that respect people. They want to take advantage of people. But anyway, I think the more people that hear this, the better. This is what they really think of people.
Labor, and of course, we have to come to a place in Congress where it is no longer a political issue, but we see it as an existential issue for the country. If we don't have avenues for people to come here legally to work or to build a home here, I'm going to be really crude right now. We're not going to have anybody around to wipe our asses because we don't have enough people.
Can you believe that? Can you believe what she said? That's what she said. Well, guess what? Trump is going to revoke the accreditation. I think this is the right clip. Revoke the accreditation of Colombia. That would be what is referred to as a huge blow. Let me see if this is the right clip. A crippling blow. He's been telling them, you better play ball, you better clean up your act. Harvard's next.
We want to turn to this story now because we do have some breaking news just coming in to CNN. The Education Department is now threatening Columbia University's accreditation over concerns about anti-Semitism on campus. CNN's Polo Sandoval joins us now with the latest on that. Polo, what do we know?
Hey, Casey, that announcement just into CNN here. What the U.S. Department of Education is essentially doing is officially notifying Columbia University that it here has violated anti-discrimination laws, alleging that the university falls below the standards of accreditation by deliberately acting indifferent towards harassment of Jewish students on campus. Of course, for well over a year now, Columbia University has been center stage for the debate about student protests relating to the Middle East. So this violation means that the university now falling below standards of accreditation in the eyes of the Department of Education. You recall, Casey, that the administration has previously issued an executive order taking direct aim at the college accreditation process, zeroing in on institutions of higher learning. So what's going to be interesting to see here is how Columbia University certainly responds, according to the announcement from the Department of Education today, Casey, that if a university fails to come into compliance within a specific period, then an accreditor must take actions against that institution. So again, things still certainly open-ended here as we wait to hear from Columbia University. This, make no mistake, is certainly an escalation in Trump targeting Columbia University.
All right, Polo Sandoval up for us. Polo, thanks very much for that report. All right, coming up next here.
Oh, Trump is targeting. He's targeting Columbia. No, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're breaking the law. You know, about an hour before I went up, Trump put a video out. A short video. I'm going to play it for you. I'm just looking at the chats. Yeah, she was pretty gross with that comment, but you know, hey, I want to see what ones I have to. I've got so many, I would be here all night. What I'm going to play, let's see. I'm curious as to what this one is. What is this one about? Oh, you remember I put that woman up, her name is Hajik. I couldn't pronounce her name. I put her picture up and I put some video of her harassing ICE officers. And she's a little councilwoman from up north somewhere, like Maine or something like that. Well, this is her in action. She got arrested today. Arrested.
Don't fucking touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Stop.
She hasn't done anything. Let her go. Please let her go. Let her go. She hasn't done anything. She's traumatized. She's my constituent. She's my constituent.
Okay, well, you can go to the station when she gets her bail, okay?
She has done nothing. What are you doing? Why are you arresting her? Why are you arresting her?
Counsel, you cannot back up. You have to back away. Back away. You gotta back away. Back away. Get your hands off of us. Back up. Absolutely not.
Let her go. She hasn't done anything. She hasn't done anything.
Jesus, bro.
Causing a scene out in the street, obstructing. Yeah, goodbye. Get your bail money, get your lawyer. You know, here's how I started out the video. This is a video I was playing at the beginning about Putin. And Trump put up a post about Vladimir. He said he had a productive talk with him. And Putin is PO'd over the strike, of course, and says he will retaliate. Let me see. Here we go. I just finished speaking by telephone with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. The call lasted approximately 1 hour and 15 minutes. We discussed the attack on Russia's docked airplanes by Ukraine and also various other attacks that have been taking place by both sides. You know, of course, docked airplanes means the ones that by treaty are to be left out in the open so they can be counted. They're not supposed to be targeted. It was a good conversation, but not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. President Putin did say, and very strongly, that he will have to respond to the recent attacks on the airfields. We also discussed Iran and the fact that time is running out on Iran's decision pertaining to nuclear weapons, which must be made quickly. I stated to President Putin that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and on this, I believe that we were in agreement. President Putin suggested that he will participate in the discussions with Iran and that he could perhaps be helpful in getting this brought to a rapid conclusion. It is my opinion that Iran has been slow-walking their decision on this very important matter, and we will need a definitive answer in a very short period of time. Well, Putin put out this video. Basically saying, why would we negotiate with people that use terrorist tactics? And he's referring to the planes that were vulnerable, docked as required by treaty and are supposed to be hands off. Among the other things, they bombed 2 bridges near the Kursk region, and they also bombed the bridge to Crimea.
It was a deliberate strike, and it only confirms our suspicions that the illegitimate regime in Kiev that came to power through a coup is now being reborn as a terrorist organization, and its sponsors become supporters of terrorism. Recently, the Ukrainian government and their allies dreamt of inflicting a strategic defeat on Russia on the battlefield. Now they're withdrawing from the battle zone, fleeing, and now the Kiev regime is trying to resort to terrorist attacks. At the same time, they're asking for a ceasefire. They're asking for top-level meetings. But how can we organize such meetings something like this is happening, what is there to talk about? How can we negotiate with those who are resorting to terrorism? And why should we reward them with a cessation in hostilities, allowing them to receive additional weapons to continue their mobilization and to prepare for more terrorist attacks like those in the Bryansk and Kursk regions?
He's talking about the 2 bridges that were bombed and also 2 railroad stations that were bombed that the media is not talking about. But I'm sure Trump is aware of also, along with the planes. And he's reminding everybody that they haven't had an election there. And this is a hanger-on regime, a military junta that's running the country, not a democracy. So, after, here's one of the bridges they blew up. They say there was unexploded ordnance that was originated out of America, C4, that was used. Exactly what Gary's saying there. Watch, they took out the piles underneath the bridge. I'll play it again. It's underwater C4. They say from American bases what they recovered. But you see the pilings just... Now, the Crimea bridge didn't shut down. But the other bridges were severely damaged. You see those bumpers they had up there to stop ramming vessels. So somebody got underwater and planted those things. Somebody got underwater and planted those things. So anyway, after the judges, and I'm saying that in a plural because they're attacking on every front they can with this judges' rebellion, forcing government to pay for transgender surgeries, okay, that the federal government has blocked. Demanding that illegal aliens be brought back in this country. Stopping the firing after the Supreme Court ruled on at least 2 prior cases that it's within the president's purview. They continue to use corrupted legalese to justify their temporary restraining orders, TROs, even after the Supreme Court said they have to call them injunctions now when they're dealing with the executive branch. They're refusing to follow Supreme Court instructions. What you'll notice in Trump's statement tonight is he uses the term, nothing will stop me. He said it before. And he says it again. Nothing will stop me from keeping Americans safe. He says that, among other things. I'll play this for you all on the way out. A message from the President of the United States about an hour before I went live. So anyway, folks, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for spending your precious time with me. And I hope I got to be on the big screen tonight with people that watch me on TV, right, Mike and Bev? Anyway, folks, I want to make sure I mention people who have been helping out. You all have a great night. Enjoy this clip. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
The recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them. In the 21st century, we've seen one terror attack after another carried out by foreign visa overstayers from dangerous places all over the world. And thanks to Biden's open door policies, today there are millions and millions of these illegals who should not be in our country. In my first term, my powerful travel restrictions were one of our most successful policies, and they were a key part of preventing major foreign terror attacks on American soil. We will not let what happened in Europe happen to America. That's why on my first day back in office, I directed the Secretary of State to perform a security review of high-risk regions and make recommendations for where restrictions should be imposed. Among the national security threats their analysis considered are the large-scale presence of terrorists, failure to cooperate on visa security, inability to verify travelers' identities, inadequate record-keeping of criminal histories, and persistently high rates of illegal visa overstays, and other things. Very simply, we cannot have open migration from any country where we cannot safely and reliably vet and screen those who seek to enter the United States. That is why today I am signing a new executive order placing travel restrictions on countries including Yemen, Somalia, Haiti, Libya, and numerous others. The strength of the restrictions we're applying depends on the severity of the threat posed. The list is subject to revision based on whether material improvements are made, and likewise new countries can be added as threats emerge around the world. But we will not allow people to enter our country who wish to do us harm, and nothing will stop us from keeping America safe. Thank you very much.